There are several factors that come into play to make a beach turtle friendly. One of the most important is the shape of the beach. Uh, it has to have the correct slope. That's a major thing the turtles look at in terms of finding suitable nesting habitat. It has to have a slope up that they can sense that they're getting their eggs and their nests up a slope and out of the water, out of harm's way, so that those eggs can incubate properly. And more and more beach nourishment is being done in a more sensible manner, a method called profile nourishment, which actually takes into account the natural shape of a beach, which is an immediate kind of slightly steep approach to the beach, then a break and a semi-slope section, and then on up to the dune, sloping gently on up to the dune, which more mimics a natural beach. And that's what the turtles are kind of looking for, as opposed to how nourishment used to be done in terms of a wide, flat, squared-off beach. The other major factor in beach nourishment, aside from the shape of the beach, is the quality of the sand that's used for nourishment. The quality of the sand in terms of particle size has a great effect on drainage of the beach, moisture movement through the beach, and air movement through the beach. A turtle nest that's laid in the beach is not completely cut off from the environment. It exchanges moisture, it exchanges gas, and it becomes a living, breathing part of that beach. So the quality of sand is really important.
So they're pumping all the sand from offshore onto the beach. Is there an issue with compaction of the sand as well?
Yeah, when the sand is pumped up on the shore, it has the potential to become really compact, really tightly packed, and this can dissuade animals from nesting. It can also affect the ability of hatchlings to dig out of the sand. And an actual part of permitting for beach nourishment projects is monitoring of that sand compaction.
In addition, beaches are sometimes armored with walls to protect homes. Obviously, such walls prevent turtles from crawling up high enough to lay their eggs. Such armoring essentially makes the beach unsuitable for nesting. With proper beach habitat and people mindful of sea turtles, a turtle can successfully lay its eggs even with development nearby. The eggs incubate in the sand 50 to 65 days, and they normally hatch out at night. Upon hatching, the baby turtles must find the ocean quickly. Here they encounter the next problem: artificial lighting.
One of the main issues we have with people living on the beach or coming here on vacation is lighting. Seems like a simple issue, but it really isn't. People believe they need light, very bright lights all the time to feel safe and secure. But really, and sea turtles need just about the opposite. They need nice, dark beaches. And the reason why is hatchlings come out of the nest and they must head to the brightest horizon, which is usually right over the water, and they have about 24 hours to get offshore to safer waters where they spend their first few years of life.
So what happens to the turtles if they're naturally attracted to light and they kind of swerve over to the beach side? What happens to them? What kind of harm does it do to the actual hatchlings themselves?
A couple things happen to the hatchlings. The most common word is called disorientation, and we also say misorientation. And one is that the turtles really become confused. They can't find what is the correct way to go to the beach. So they get disoriented, and they may just crawl around for hours and either get eaten by crabs on the beach, raccoons, or being picked up by birds, or they become dehydrated and die. Secondly, if they become misoriented, what they do is they actually go straight to that artificial light that's attracting them, and sometimes they end up just sitting at the light pole until they become dehydrated or taken by a predator, or we find them in swimming pools, groundwater, sumps, and even across the street where they get run over by cars.
So there are issues with the hatchlings when they come out, they get disoriented, but is there any issues with adult turtles as well?
Female adult turtles that are coming up to nest are also affected by artificial light. Number one, research has shown that a lot of females will not approach the beach if they're heavily lighted. So it stops sea turtles from even coming onto the beach. But sometimes they will come on the beach and they will nest, and then they become confused with the bright lights and will wander aimlessly along the beach for hours at a time. And that really depletes their energy resources. Think of a 300-pound person dragging themselves all over the beach, and it's hard for them to get back to the water.
To learn about proper turtle lighting, we met up with a homeowner, Julia Cunningham, that lives on the beach in Port St. Joe. Julia is very conscious about proper lighting during the nesting season.
So Julia, this is a great spot here on the beach.
Thank you.
Yeah, what brought you here?
Well, this, I mean, who wouldn't want to live here? But I'm really lucky. I feel really lucky. But I've always wanted to live on the beach my entire life. And that's been my goal, and that's what I've worked for.
So Julia, what's the most important thing a homeowner can do to minimize the impact of turtles trying to nest on this beach?
The most important thing and the easiest thing is to turn off the lights, and that doesn't cost anybody anything. Second to that, you could close the window shades. A lot of the people don't realize when they have the shades open that the lights inside actually reflect just as bad as the ones outside. Another thing, when you're walking on the beach, and you can usually get them at any of the local merchants around town or the Tourist Development Council, are the red kind of a cellophane that you put over the flashlight, because the red light for some reason doesn't bother the turtles. So if you're out with your flashlight and you're looking at the crabs and everything, it's best to have the red light over there because they won't get strayed by that.
One can also install yellow or red lights, as these colors are less likely to disorient baby or adult sea turtles. Julia shows us how she replaced her floodlights on her house.
One of the things that people don't think about are the motion detectors. A lot of times they put those lights up here. It's best not to do that. I had taken the fluorescent bulbs out of this light actually and replaced them with the yellow bug lights, the user-friendly bulbs, and it makes a huge difference between the fluorescent bulbs.
So you own this home, but what if you're a renter and you're vacationing in the area and you come out on the porch and you see the conventional ones that have the white lights? What can they do?
You know what, they can call the management company of the house, and they should be coming out and changing those, because there really is a light law out here that we try to abide by.
In addition to using yellow or red lights, all lights should be shielded so that the light pools directly to the ground. There are a number of different shields that could be used around homes, pools, and sidewalks.
And here's a good example of a full cutoff luminary. As you can see, the light is shielded and it pools directly to the ground, preventing light from going onto the beach. We have talked about lighting and beach issues, but did you know that urban runoff and plastic trash can affect sea turtles way out in the ocean?
One really important threat out there is not from natural predators. Unfortunately, it's from us. The plastics that we use and other floating debris that we discard ends up, because it floats, concentrated in these same places where little turtles are making a living. And what does that matter? Who cares? Well, these little turtles grew up in a world where it was perfectly safe to bite onto anything that floats by. And so they aren't averse to nibbling on a piece of plastic. And a lot of the plastics that we discard end up circulating in the ocean for many, many years, even decades, even long after it's degraded, photodegraded into little tiny shards. And it's those little shards of plastic that the turtles eat, and they accumulate them in their gut, and they literally choke to death or starve to death because of the plastic load in their stomachs.
In addition to picking up trash, one should also reduce or eliminate fertilizer use on lawns, as fertilizers can run off yards, into rivers, and eventually end up in the ocean, killing grass beds. These dead zones are showing up around our coasts, eliminating foraging areas for turtles.
As you can see, sea turtles face a number of challenges, but people and turtles can live together. Let's review some of the important steps we can take.
Remember proper beach etiquette during turtle nesting season.
If you're walking on the beach at night, look out for nesting sea turtles. If you see one coming out of the ocean, stop moving immediately and wait till it starts laying its eggs. Then you can move safely around it. Don't use a regular flashlight, as the white light will disturb the turtles. What you need to do is take some red cellophane, like these little stickers here, put it over the light, like this, and then you can go out on the beach.
Further, do not drive on the beach during the nesting season, as it can scare adults and damage nests. If your community is conducting a beach nourishment project, push for turtle-friendly practices. Be sure they use 1. The right kind of sand, 2. The beach is sculpted with a slope, and 3. They monitor how compact the sand becomes for several years after completion.
If you live on the beach, be aware of your lighting. Bright white lights can prevent baby sea turtles from reaching the ocean.
The simplest thing you can do is to leave all outside lights off, and to close curtains and shades at night.
Just to be sure, look back at your house and you see white light coming onto the beach, change your lighting. For outside lights, use yellow or red lights, as sea turtles are not as affected by these colors. It's really simple to switch them out.
In addition, shield the lights from the beach and make sure the light pools on the ground. These are examples of good lights. This is a bad light. Do not litter by throwing plastics overboard, as these plastics can be eaten by turtles. Periodic beach cleanups will not only help the look of your beach, but will help prevent plastics from washing back out to sea. Runoff from urban areas can contain nutrients that promote the appearance of dead zones where turtles normally feed. Excessive use of fertilizer is thought to be part of this problem. Thus, eliminate or reduce the amount of fertilizers used. In some states, drivers can purchase license plates for turtles. Florida has one such sea turtle license tag, and many successful research and education projects have been funded over the years. For more information about living with sea turtles, visit the Living Green website or contact your local county extension office.
That's it for Living Green. Remember, turn off those lights during turtle nesting season. Ah, much better. I can see the water now. Hey, look, there's a Big Dipper.
Major support for this program was provided by these organizations.